Okay, guys, and thanks for coming back. I appreciate it. So, as I mentioned, we're going to take a look at these two lightsabers. I got two Qui-Gon Jinn lightsabers. This comes from the Dewy and Daniel Anakin Starkiller run. Now, this run is on the RPF. This is the first run I ever joined on the RPF and had a chance to actually participate in by saying, hey, yes, from the start I'm in and I want to participate and I want to buy sabers. And I did that, got these sabers just this morning actually. Pretty excited and want to just kind of go over them with you. Now, I'm not going to do a full accuracy review. That's something that I might do at a later date, compare it with a couple other Qui-Gon Jinns that I have, and I'll give you a chance to kind of batch in a lot of research on the resource materials, the props that are out there that are known, and take a look and then do some comparisons. And that way I can compare all three lightsabers to the research at one time instead of just just this one model. So I'm not going to do that. I think there'll probably be a couple other people that'll probably jump ahead of me and get these out there. But for now, I just want to kind of do it out of the box and tell you, how excited it is to kind of get these and talk about what's in the box and what you're going to get and how this works. So, as I mentioned, really excited to have participated in the RPF. So this lightsaber, Qui-Gon Jinn from the Phantom Menace, as you guys can see. And basically, this is what Daniel considers a kit. So he says, hey, this is a kit lightsaber. So, in terms of accuracy, this is not meant to be accurate. The finish here, this is finish it how you like. If you believe that it's more shiny, if you believe it's more brushed, somewhere in the middle, whatever the case is, this is coming as you can kind of do that on your own. So that's how that's kind of put forward. And then there's some people that are going to talk about this middle section here and what material it's made of, and then how you treat it and whether you leave it as it is, whether you paint it, what do you do. So that's also part of what could be considered, a kit. To me, a kit would be something that comes in complete pieces, and I think you assemble, you probably paint and do everything together at one time. This is mostly a completed hilt. This is intended to be accurate, kind of out of the box. So obviously, unless you question the finish or if you have, question with what this is. But let's talk about what this is. So one of the things I appreciate the most is Dewy starts the design on this lightsaber. He opens it up, and Daniel's as well on the RPF, and they open a thread up. And they start talking about how they're going to make this lightsaber, talk about what the resources are that they're using, where the materials are, what the lengths and measurements and all the different idiosyncrasies here are going to be. Talk about some really neat pieces like the asymmetry, which is going to be like the length of these bits and pieces here, maybe even the curve of this piece of the shroud. I'm not sure if those are identical or not, but this is kind of like the TPM for Kenobi, where you got asymmetries across the board with a lot of these different pieces. Also, you're going to notice these are not going to be evenly spaced out, and they're not going to be the same exact shape either. They're going to be a little bit wonky, and that's also by design because it's understood that the real saber is not that way. So here's what you got. So this is the first one that we have of the two that I got, and so we're just going to start here at the pommel. So you got pretty standard down here in the pommel. I think this nice little ring coming along here, and there we go. Get a good nice view, and then you can see the little beveled pieces, the little beveling that's done inside on this knob right here as well. So all this is designed to be the right shape, accurate size, and those things as well. But we're going to take a look at this here, and let's see. All right, let's take a look. The ending there, it looks like there's some stuff right there on this piece. It's hard to see exactly kind of what that is. I'll give you a quick second. All right, and so yeah, here we go. So you're going to see these marks here. Got some stuff going across, lots of lines and some scratches. Some of these are kind of a little bit deep. You can feel them in the material, so we're going to be interesting on how I'm able to treat those and yet get the finish that I want. So maybe reach out and see if I can get some help on that. But definitely some marks going on with this, and then you look through. What's really kind of cool, again, I think though, is just how neat this is, and just from photos and things like that, without having an actual saber to copy or anything like that, you come and you get something that's got these right shapes and things like that as well. Looks like a little nick right here in the ABS that's across there. That little corner is taken out, so little ding in there. A couple scratches that are going across the top of this. So I wonder how, with the ABS choice that they made, putting it in the middle, that's one of the things that were open in the run. You can see a scratch back here as well. But that's one of the things that were open in the run. Initially, I know that there was discussion. I think that Dewy's original thought was that this material was made here in the center, that all this was made with resin, and then it was painted resin. I don't know if a consensus was ever made, but Delrin was considered as well as a material to be used in this, and I think it was tried, but I think they couldn't get the Delrin to behave correctly, and so I think the choice was to use ABS plastic here, so you can see some of the scratches that are in the plastic, some of the warping that's there. Now, some of this, most of this warping, and like I said, the spacing, that's all natural. You're going to see some spots where the machine marks took out, and this is actual missing material, so you're going to see some of those marks. That's, you know, whether that's just a casualty of war or whatever. But then on this cover tech is actually drilled crooked. You can see that the screw's not centered in there, but I'm probably going to replace these anyway. These are really plasticky. They're very light. They don't feel very firm. They feel quite, yeah, they're just very light. They don't feel very sturdy, and so I'll probably be replacing those. You got a chip out of here as well, 2 chips actually right there in the ABS coming across. But, you know, just looking at these lines, and it's seamless, and just the memories of, you know, watching the prequels and seeing Qui-Gon holding the saber. Looks like there's some scratching right there as well inside the ABS. Now, again, it's not painted now, or if it is, those are scratches that look like they're actually dented into the ABS, so it doesn't look like paint wrinkles or ripples. I don't remember if they painted it or not, so I'll have to double check on that. Coming over, you see that beautiful red button there, the knurling on that button, the accuracy of the knurling on that button, just really, really nice. I love it. The red button's my favorite part. You can see a little bit of foot, is what we call when you make macaroons. You see a little wedge coming out the bottom of this little bezel piece. I'm not sure if that's accurate, if that's supposed to be there or not. It also looks like that piece, just looking at it, it doesn't look like that piece is fully symmetrical. So it looks like that it sticks out more here on the bottom than it does over the top. So I'll have to double check on that for accuracy as well. That might be one of the idiosyncrasies where that button, the red button, is not centered perfectly into the black piece. That could definitely be something that's intentional by design. Something else too that you'll notice here, so you'll see like a little chiseled end on these. This one's not really chiseled. You can see it's a lot thicker here, and you definitely see the machine marks where they are trying to run that down and make that thinner. But on this one's thicker, and this one's nice and chiseled. Again, there's some good machining marks or some manual sanding marks that are on there to try and get it into that chiseled look. And you can see how that one goes down into a nice point, whereas this one does not on the top side. So it's very nice and thick. So I'll have to take a look at that too and see if that needs to be worked, something like that. I'm not sure what the accuracy measure would be for that either. But yeah, nice red button. So we've got a few of those things here. I'm looking at more of the ABS plastic that goes up through the middle of the saber here. And you got some markings and stuff like here on this. So again, all this is going to have to be buffed out for what can be buffed out. Some of those scratches might be too deep, might not be able to be buffed. So we'll have to see what the damage is on that. And then just going back through the top of this and taking a look at this as well. Looks okay. And then through here, looks pretty okay as well. So that might be a little, some scratching that's coming here along the bottom. You can see all that scratching. So I'll have to try and attack that and figure out what angle of buffering and brushing is going to be accurate for that. So got a second saber here. First thing that jumps out at me is this red button. You see a nipple in the red button, and you see a ring around the nipple in the red button. That's definitely, I don't believe, accurate. This is accurate. It should be a smooth red button across the top. So right away, already some differences just between these two sabers. Having a red button that looks like that's definitely a bit different compared to the other. And then so we'll just kind of go through and do another quick kind of run. So back to the end there. And more brush and some nicks and some marks like that. There's a decent scratch into the plastic. You can definitely see that goes into the plastic, so that's not going to be able to be scuffed out or buffed out without any serious work, and trying not to change the shape of this form right here, because if you try to dig in and make that too flat, you're going to end up taking in material that's going to change the shape of the actual ABS. And then we go through here again. Looks like this one is screwed in the center, which is nice. But again, if I'm going to replace one, I'll probably replace both. I may have some made. I have a couple that are kind of nice already. There are some out there for sale on Etsy and some other places. So I may just grab one of those as long as I got the one that I want, get the color that I want. As for the plastic itself, sorry, I'm trying to keep all this dust off here. There was a lot of dust on it when I pulled it out, and just trying to get it off. You can see the markings as you look into the light there. you can see the machine markings there. So I don't know if painting this is going to make those go away. So I wonder if these are going to require some sanding as well. I don't know if it's already painted. I don't think so. But yeah, you can see like just little dimple marks all over the front side of that. So you're definitely going to need some attention on that. And you can see them inside between the fins as well. So that's going to also need some additional attention to try and see if we can smooth those out. But again, like I mentioned, I'm going to compare this all to resource photos and what's out there, right? Because if that's the way the prop looks, and it may, then I want it to be accurate as it can be, to the prop. There's a decent little scratching right there. That definitely is into the metal coming across, and then a couple of scratches. So some of these are just surface and they're going to be fine. Some of these are nicks and they're not quite as fine. And then if we look right here, there's a foot on this as well. So the foot that I'm talking about, anyone who makes macaroons, when you make the top of a macaroon before you put the filling in, when you get feet on them, you take them out of the oven. That's when it tells you that you cooked it enough. This particular bevel piece has got some very uneven wear. It's not smooth at all. I don't know if I can sand that down. I'm not sure what caused all that roughness there. This one looks like it is pretty much made symmetrical. So again, not only is this button different than the other button, but the bevel underneath it is made symmetrical, and that this red button goes symmetrically into that. And then on this side, this one is a little bit more of a chisel-like, unlike the other. And this one is flat, similar to the other one, but this is a much steeper chisel right here. So the other one was a nice smooth, like a knife's edge almost, and this one's like a more blunt chisel. But this one comes down into a point, this one comes down into a point a little bit more than the other one, but still it's a little more flatter than that. So maybe that is by design, and that's something that we'll take a look at when we decide what we're going to do and how we're going to get these sabers up to speed and making them look as accurate as possible. But overall, again, coming through here, just checking some of this stuff out. There's some additional markings and stuff in the ABS, so I'm really going to have to pay attention to how to get that done, how to make that look nice, and how to see if I can keep it even and without it being totally wonky and things like that. And then here's the emitter on this one, so it looks a little bit nicer. There's not really any scratch marks on this one. It looks like just some polish marks. But so there we go. This is what we have. I mean, basically, really cool. Like I said, it's my first run to participate in. Holding this is, it seems a little thick. So I'm interested, kind of in the full circumference and kind of take a look at that from an accuracy perspective as well. But I may do an accuracy review sometime soon, and we'll see how that works out. I've got 3 Qui-Gons, and so we'll take a look at that when I get a chance to look at resource materials. But I'm sure some of my friends out there who are actually buffs, Mojave Troopers, some others, they may end up doing an accuracy review way before I will. And some of them probably know the Qui-Gon sabers much better than I do, so they may be able to do a lot of this stuff from memory. But this is my first to jump in and join and participate all the way through the run and to get to the saber. I grabbed 2 of them. I was really excited to, like I said, grab 2 of them. I had a buddy that wants one. We'll take a look, and we'll talk it out with him, and I'll see if I can get this sent over to him. If not, I know that one of these will be spoken for by someone else, so that's going to be really awesome. But I'm excited to have this, and I think that like we talked about, I just say, overall that I really appreciate you guys joining. Opportunity to just share with you what I love, which are lightsabers. These things are really great. I'm pretty excited to have this. Red button's my favorite part, so super excited for this. And again, I think that opportunity to just show you what's in the box, how I've opened it up, and what we get, and take a look at it, and then you talk about some of these things. So if you guys have tricks and tips out there for what to do here, what should be painted like, how to do it, what to make it look like, let me know. I think I'm pretty good with quadruple zero and trying to get some of the brush stuff, but if you got any suggestions for some of the deeper marks and scratches and how to maybe get those out without trying to do too much and take too much out of the material, both for the ABS and for the aluminum, please let me know. I'm all ears. Certainly love to take any feedback that you have. But as always, I certainly appreciate your time. This is Lolo Padawan for Document 32. I'm going to call it a day, and thanks again for joining.